The search for a suspect in a deadly Aurora church shooting is now over.
I don't think investigators knew on Friday and through the coming days that this is how it was going to end.
We've got details about the crime spree that ended with an officer-involved shooting. Boulder County is moving closer to cleaning up debris from the Marshall Fire, plus how federal funding coming to our state could help uncover the cause of that blaze.
The price of crude oil is skyrocketing right now.
And inflation is hitting its highest point this century. We're taking a closer look at why we're getting hit so hard at the pump. But first, we're tracking some breaking news out of California right now. A brush fire, now named the Emerald Fire, is forcing evacuations in the Laguna Beach area. This is video from earlier this morning. The blaze was first reported before 4 a.m. local time. California fire officials issued an immediate evacuation order for surrounding neighborhoods a couple of hours later. As of last check, 145 acres have burned. Thanks so much for joining us here on Denver 7 News at 11. I'm Jason Grenauer. It's also a big day for Colorado wildfires. Our state's lawmakers will discuss changing who investigates them. Right now, it's just local fire departments and governments, but a proposed bill would require the state to investigate fire causes. Today, a Senate committee will debate that bill. Plus, this afternoon, Boulder County will award the contract to clean up debris from the Marshall Fire. It's one of the first steps that homeowners have been waiting for to get that long cleanup process started. Now, as for the cause of the fire, investigators haven't made their conclusion yet, but they are looking into an abandoned coal mine fire as one possible cause. Now, that comes as the federal government is giving Colorado nearly $10 million for abandoned coal mine fires. The Department of the Interior says the money is part of the government's plan to clean up these sites over the course of the next 15 years. Well, luckily, no red flag warnings for us today, but we are tracking some changes to the weather. Stacey Donaldson is here talking spring like today and then snow tomorrow.
That's right. That's how it's been lately here.
You got to keep track of all this.
We're going from the warm weather today to the cool weather tomorrow, and we do have chances for snow, but you can see just how warm it is down into Southern California. Temperatures in the 80s there for them today, and then in the 50s here for the Front Range. So that's why we're seeing, of course, the fire danger all throughout the Southwest. But our current temperatures are in the 50s here for the Denver area, across the plains also in the 50s as well. And as we go through the rest of the day, we are going to have just a few high clouds starting to come down from the north thanks to an approaching cold front. So 57 will be our high today. It'll be mild and dry for the afternoon. And as we go into the later part of the day, still mild and dry, but some flurries off to the west. Now, as we go into tomorrow, that's when we see the big changes. We'll have mostly clear skies this evening and then light snow coming in Friday afternoon and evening thanks to a cold front and low pressure area pushing on in. Coming up, we'll talk more about snow totals and exactly when you can expect this snow to move in a few minutes.
All right, Stacey, thank you. A violent crime spree lasting nearly a week and spanning 2 metro counties is now over. The suspect died after a police shooting last night. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon is where it all ended in Centennial near South Parker Road and Bronco Parkway.
Aurora police say the man killed is Jose de Jesus Montoya Villa. They believe he was trying to escape at the time. He was wanted for first-degree murder. Police say he's the shooter who killed a woman inside of an Aurora church last week. It all started just before 4 yesterday afternoon in Aurora, where police say Montoya Villa started shooting in a parking lot, hitting a 26-year-old man. That man is hospitalized but expected to survive. Police say Montoya Villa then stole a car, crashed it, robbed a liquor store, but we don't know yet if anything was actually taken, before stealing another car while pointing a gun at the person who was driving it. Montoya Villa was spotted in that stolen car in Centennial by police who pulled him over. There were more shots fired and the suspect died at the hospital. Officers say they're thankful they found Montoya Villa, but that it's unfortunate it ended this way.
I don't think investigators knew on Friday and through the coming days that this is how it was going to end. Investigators have been hard at work since Friday night, around the clock, not only trying to locate him, but kind of piece together what led up to the shooting.
The Aurora police chief says she's relieved none of her officers were hurt during the chase. She also says they stopped a dangerous criminal from further victimizing the community. The officers who opened fire on Montoya Villa are on leave right now, which is typical in these kinds of cases. They were wearing body-worn cameras at the time. That footage will be used in the investigation going forward. In Centennial, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
A man wanted for killing 2 people in southeast Douglas County is in custody this morning. The sheriff's office says Casey Duvall was arrested in Salina, Kansas last night. Sources tell Denver 7 he shot and killed his sister and another person inside a home along Russellville Road. That was near Franktown on Tuesday. Investigators have not said what the motive was. Friends and family will say their final goodbyes to the 5-year-old boy killed in an Aurora apartment fire that was intentionally set by a neighbor. Funeral services for Abner Salmarone Bautista Jr. will be held today. Last night, the community gathered at La Machaca restaurant on East Colfax for a benefit dinner. The proceeds will go to Abner's family as they pay for his funeral. La Machaca will host another benefit that's tonight from 5 to 8 p.m. Thornton police are investigating a disturbing crime. A woman working in a middle school is accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta has the latest on what we know so far.
Well, this is 24-year-old Katia Covarrubias Ruiz. She worked at Quist Middle School, and today she's due in court for allegedly having a sexual relationship with a student. Now, 27J, the district, they sent a letter to parents of students in the middle school saying, in part, quote, all of 27J schools are very sad and angered by the alleged inappropriate relationship of a former student, or former employee rather, with a student. Based on the charges brought against the defendant, we find the situation deeply disturbing and traumatic. Covarrubias Ruiz was a paraeducator at Quist Middle School. That means she was working in a classroom under the supervision of a teacher. She was employed at this middle school between October of last year and January of this year, and here's what she's being charged with. A 4th-degree felony charge of sexual assault on a child, 3rd-degree felony of sexual assault on a child pattern of abuse, and 3rd-degree felony sexual assault on a child by one in a position of trust. Now, right now, there's nothing to suggest there was more than one victim, and Covarrubias Ruiz, she is expected in a courtroom today at 1:30 in the afternoon. Of course, we'll keep you updated on what comes of this. In studio, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
All right, let's talk about the economy now. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is now saying inflation hit its highest increase since 1982. The Consumer Price Index jumped 7.5% over the course of the past 12 months. From housing, used cars, and medical costs, prices increased really across the board. Check out the updated numbers here. Energy prices up 27%. Used car prices up 40%. Food is up 7%, and clothing is up almost 5.5%. And our supply chain just can't seem to keep up either. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis reports from New York.
Americans are experiencing the highest inflation in nearly 40 years. In just the last 12 months, prices have spiked 7.5%, and it's really everywhere. Groceries, gasoline, rents, they are all climbing. Some of the areas that have seen the biggest increases: furniture, appliances, and cars. Whether you're buying new or used, you are feeling this in the auto market. Edmunds.com estimates that 82% of the new vehicles sold in the month of January were above the sticker price, above the suggested retail price, and that is why companies like General Motors and Ford have told their dealerships, stop doing this. No more markups. At the same time, you have an economy that is growing at its most rapid rate since 1984. There are 1.5 job openings for every job seeker, and it is very likely that we will see the Federal Reserve begin to hike interest rates soon in an attempt to stabilize these prices and at the same time make the cost of borrowing more expensive, hopefully to stabilize this economy when there are forecasts already for the rest of this year from companies like Goldman Sachs suggesting we could be paying 5 to 6% more for food prices this year. Rebecca Jarvis, ABC News, New York.
Let's take a closer look at gas prices now. 1 year ago here in Colorado, the average price of regular unleaded was $2.38 a gallon. Right now, the average price is $3.34 a gallon. We asked AAA why the price is so high.
Number one is just demand. Omicron has faded. Americans feel confident traveling again. Workforces are returning to workplaces. All of this increases the demand for oil. The price of crude oil is skyrocketing right now, north of $90 per barrel, the highest per barrel price we've seen.
Well, experts say gas prices are also going up because less oil is being produced and because of concerns over the conflict between Russia and the Ukraine. So how can you save money on gas? AAA says take the skis and any storage boxes off the top of your vehicle if you're not using them. Look in the trunk and remove any weight that you can, but keep the scraper, cat litter, and other winter gear because winter isn't over just yet. On the housing front, housing is not only more expensive, it's hard to find. The housing sales report from the Colorado Association of Realtors shows record low inventory from January. The number of homes sold was also down 6%. Now, to illustrate this problem, right now, Crested Butte and Gunnison have just 30 homes on the market. None are under $1 million, only 7 are under $2 million. And because of the high housing demand and low supply, Summit County is going to extend its current program, converting short-term rentals into long-term housing for locals for at least another year. The Summit Daily reports the plan launched last summer, and by October, short-term rental owners were able to get thousands of dollars from the county to help house those who needed it. In total, 30 units were converted that house 57 people working locally. Truck drivers are well into their second week of protests against Canada's COVID protocols. And now it could impact the Super Bowl, why Homeland Security is sending out a word of warning. Plus, the Center for African American Health has been a vital resource for decades here in the Metro. How you can access their services today.